Welcome to this episode of Pharmacy in Phlux. I'm your host, Derek Desrosiers, along with my co-host, Phil Hauser. Hello, Phil.
Good morning.
We've got a guest with us today, Greg Shepard. Greg is the CEO of Pharmasave West, and we're really delighted to have you on board today, Greg. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure to be here. Hi, guys.
So this is going to be part one of two parts. We're going to talk about pharmacy banners with you, Greg, and we there's a lot to talk about, and so we thought it'd be good if we broke this into two different episodes of Pharmacy in Phlux. So we'll dig into episode one of this banner series today, and then we'll do the next episode will be part two of this. And so we're going to explore a lot of different facets of banner programs, and hopefully our audience, in particular pharmacists who are pharmacy owners and may be independents and don't have a banner today and wondering if they need one, or people who are potentially starting a new pharmacy or buying into a business for their first time and trying to determine whether or not they really need a banner, and if they do, how do they decide on which one and where to go to get that kind of information, and so on and so forth. So let's jump right into the topic. And so, here I am. Presumably I'm a new pharmacy owner, or I'm just opening up a pharmacy, and I'm thinking to myself, do I need a pharmacy banner? So Greg, how do I go about determining that? What steps would you suggest that I take to determine if I actually need a banner for my pharmacy, or am I going to be okay as a pure independent without any affiliation?
It's a good question, and probably one that everyone asks when they're looking at opening a new pharmacy, or as they continue to operate their existing pharmacy if they're not affiliated with a banner. But I think if you do your research, it's probably not a question of if you need a banner. It's I'm obviously biased for working in a banner program, but if you look at what's going on in the industry today, in the pharmacy industry, I think it will be quite clear that going it alone is obviously has some higher risks related to it, and just the security and comfort of being part of a banner program, which we'll talk about probably in a little bit. But if you're starting out, I would say most new businesses, well, we all know most new businesses fail in Canada. Small businesses, and generally it's due to things being just a bad idea or a bad concept, not enough money, but also business plan and experience. And I think a banner program can provide a lot of those things to help just set you up right off the bat with the collective experience of a group of like-minded individuals. If it's a pharmacy organization that's owned, they're run and operated by fellow pharmacy owners who understand the industry. And there's a lot of change out there in our industry today, and I think the strength and power of a good banner behind you will just support you through all the ups and downs that you'll come across, and there'll be more than you realize.
No, well, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So Greg, what if I'm a pharmacy owner or a young pharmacy professional, and I'm just starting to begin the process of looking at banner groups? What should I be looking for? What should be the things that I should be looking for as I begin my search?
I think doing a research to find out what kind of banners are out there, trying to find one that really aligns with your vision for the type of business you want to have, the kind of practice if you're a pharmacist. I think it's really important that you align yourself with a program that has, if you think of it, a banner program as a bit of as the toolbox, the types of tools that you're going to need, and the strength of the program that will just set you up for success. I think market share and brand power is another big component of when you look at banners. There's a lot of power that comes with a recognized brand, and with that comes a certain sense of trust and loyalty from customers as well. Ask yourself, is okay, I'm looking at this banner. Is this a household name? Do people even know? If I open up, I put the sign up, and here it is. If it's Greg's Pharmacy or it's a well-known banner, who's likely to come in the door, and are you likely to start off your practice with one leg up kind of thing? So looking at as we see the evolving customers, especially today, but a banner that has some vision and clarity on where the industry needs to go, where pharmacy is going, not just pharmacy practice, but that whole bricks and mortar retail environment. What kind of programs do they have that are going to be relevant? We've got big, we got Amazon, we got everybody, competing for customers' dollars. And I think for independent pharmacy, what's going to be, the big question is, how will I compete, in a world that's increasingly competitive? And how do I create that customer experience? Do I have the tools? Do I have the bells and whistles of a program that actually make me relevant? Can I be convenient? Can I be connected with the community? And there's, we know that those things still matter, right? I mean, people still go into bricks and mortar pharmacies. They're not just all shopping online. There's a real human need to have interaction, and they like to get to know, the pharmacist and the teams there, and it's not just a revolving door of faces. And they want to feel like there's a sense of community and trust that goes along with that. So I think also asking, if you're assessing, looking at different parts of banners, is talk to some pharmacy owners. Whether you're an existing pharmacy owner or a pharmacist who's looking at opening a banner. My recommendation is always, go up and talk to those pharmacy owners, and they'll tell you what's important in a banner as well. And everyone has their own sort of hierarchy of needs that align with what they need and what they're looking for. The more you ask, I think the more answers you'll get that actually mean something to you.
Yeah, I think you made some really good points there, and certainly top of mind brand awareness in the public's eye is absolutely a biggie for sure in terms of recognizability and whatnot. But a lot of those other things. So let's zero in on that a little bit more. So presume I'm a pharmacist looking for a banner. I'm going out now, and I'm going to interview some banner programs to see if there's a good fit out there for me. What kind of questions should I be asking? What would you expect me to ask you if I was, what are the top 3 or 4 questions that I should probably be asking to see if there's a really good fit between your banner and what I need?
I think again, we talked about market share, brand recognition, brand power. I think you can't underestimate you can't overestimate the power of a brand. And I think knowing where the banner program is going, like what its vision is, I think knowing its trajectory as far as what it has in store to be relevant to those customers in the future, I think is critical. I think the more research you do, the better. We certainly know not all banners are the same. So asking the right questions is going to be vitally important, because it's hard to get an apples to apples comparison. You want to know, really down to the, and nowadays we have, franchise law that there's, all the legal disclosure requirements that are involved. So, you should be getting that type of level of granular kind of all the legal details. But when it comes to, running a business, it's time and energy and money. And, the money part is important. I always ask people if, how does the program run and how's it funded? As an individual pharmacist, what is it going to cost sort of upfront to build, and then really focus on what that return is. You know, all these banners programs, they take you know, they cost something to run, obviously, and I think the focus needs to be on, you know, but what do you get for that, and what's that return on your investment? And I've talked to many pharmacy owners who, you know, they're shopping around, they're looking at different banners, and you know, when I ask that question back around other ones, like, well, what are you finding out there? You know, it's surprising sometimes how little they know about how other, you know, they're taking the face value of what another program might be saying around, you know, how they fund their program, but they don't really understand how it's funded. So I think that's really important as a franchisee going into a banner program, that you would have a very comfortable understanding of, you know, where every penny is going, the level of transparency that you get as being part of a banner program is important. You know, and you know, banners that I'm familiar with are you know, good, you know, member-owned and governed organizations, and you're surrounded by peers that are in it with you as pharmacy owners. So those are some of the questions that I'd be asking. It's not just around, you know, commercial terms and you know, wholesale deals and things like that. Like, those are important questions, obviously, but there's also, you know, how does your brand support the individual owners as far as that power? And you can't forget top line sales and margin as a result of the strength of a well-recognized banner program. It's not just the sort of at the end of the day, the bottom line rules, but there's, you know, top line sales, traffic, and all the program, the comprehensiveness of that program are going to drive, you know, your total profitability, which most banners are there to support. That's what they're there to do.
You know,
Okay.
you mentioned earlier about compatibility. In at RX Ownership, Derek and I encourage pharmacy professionals to write a formal business plan. I think sort of flesh out where they're going to go, where the practice is going to go, and so on. Bringing a formal written business plan to a banner and saying, hey, here's where I'm going with my professional practice. Do you see that as being problematic? Is it a good thing? How do you see that in sort of the compatibility picture?
Well, I'm not sure if it's a compatibility issue. I think you know, a written business plan is you know, a critical component of starting off any business. You know, it's one of those things that I mentioned earlier, that businesses that fail, and that's one of those common reasons why businesses fail. They don't have a plan. Just because someone has the energy and they think they know the kind of pharmacy they want to build, doesn't mean that they're going to be successful. And a formal business plan is something that I really appreciate when someone comes with their idea and their vision, but they've also mapped it out. They know what they're, you know, what they're having, taking a realistic look. It means they've done the research. They know what it costs. You know, and banner programs, you know, you should be looking at a banner program that can then take its experience, layer it onto that business plan, and do, you know, pro forma or whatever kind of tool that you want to say, okay, let's validate some of your assumptions in the business plan. Let's look at our experience and the experience of hundreds of other pharmacy owners that we can layer onto that business plan. We can challenge, you know, we can have some healthy debates around some numbers in their business plan, or what that marketing looks like. It also, I think, allows the, you know, the individual to gain a lot more understanding of the power of that banner program. When you start looking at, okay, where's your expenses going to be? Okay, so you're going to spend this much on, you know, a website, and you're going to want an app. You're going to want to do some marketing. You're going to, flyer. What about flyer? Okay, that's good too. You know, then you want to layer on the banner program on top of that and say, okay, well, this is all included in that. That's included in that. That's included in that. And I think it will strengthen your plan altogether, because I think it'll really highlight the synergies and allow you to dig a little deeper into, what it's going to take to operate and have a vision for, a 3, 5, 10-year plan. We look at business plans and take them out to 10 years and look at, cash flow projections as far as, all of that collective experience that we have from opening lots of pharmacies and also, existing pharmacies, and bringing them over and seeing the impact of that, the banner program onto an existing pharmacy. So having a plan it's critical. It's the foundation to where you need to start from. We've also had individuals that come and don't really have a written plan. And then it's a little trickier, right, to map out kind of where they're going to go. But it's we need to know that there's been some thought, and nowadays more than ever, if you're gonna, as I mentioned earlier, it will help identify those areas of a program that will be very compatible and line up nicely with the vision, and probably give you some comfort that that's the right banner for you, right? It's going to give you some comfort as well in knowing that that banner's value proposition fits nicely with what your plan is, and if something's lacking there, or you might be see something else and go, okay, well, I hadn't really thought about a loyalty program. Those are pretty costly. I'm not going to go out and set up air miles on my own, right, in a business. So what do you have? So there's ways that you can really use it to beef it up even further, and hopefully give you the confidence that you're on a solid path forward with that plan.
Excellent stuff. And I know Phil and I are both really glad to hear you say how much you support the idea of somebody showing up with a written business plan of where they want to go and how they're going to get there. And it was great. You used the word critical just as the emergency vehicle noises were blaring in the background at your place there. So it was very, very good timing there. Awesome. Yeah. I'm going to just deviate a little bit to a scenario that I've seen many times, and I'd like to sort of get your take on how you address this kind of issue. So here's the scenario, and I go out as a new pharmacist. I'm opening up a pharmacy in a particular location. I'm ready to go, and I'm checking out different banner programs, and I decide on a banner program. And I think this is the right fit for me. It really dovetails nicely in with my business plan. It's where I want to go. I'm going to get the support I need. And then the banner program says to me, well, sorry, you can't join our banner because we already have another store within a kilometer or 2 kilometers or whatever. And, our banner provides geographic protection for our members. Oof, what do I do? Do I go it alone and say, okay, I'm going without a banner, or do I compromise and join a banner that's really not the best fit for me based on where I want to go and what I want to do, because I can't have what I want? Seen this happen many times.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
We've seen it happen as well. Generally, back to the business plan, one of the first things that we do is assess the market. There's obviously hot markets in BC, in the Lower Mainland, especially. Saturation's an issue. We see this all the time where, we've got pharmacists coming to us. They either have a site, but it's just, it's a saturated marketplace, or they don't have a site and they're looking for something. But I think there's, from my experience, there's no harm in asking, right? I mean, we've opened pharmacies that are less than a kilometer apart from each other, when the business case makes sense. And generally, if there's a good business sense for opening another pharmacy, I think, if there's a will, there's a way sometimes. So we've had success where, you go and you can talk to the other pharmacy and you say, look, I understand there might be some market sensitivity in opening another banner or another pharmacy of the same banner in that market. I would do the research and at least, if we think it's a good opportunity and the market can sustain too, then certainly that's, something that needs to be discussed a little bit further. I don't think it's as black and white as saying, market protection, we block off a certain radius. We don't do that. I don't think others do that as well. Now the question of, so what do you do if it's a no? I think it comes back to really, truly having a solid vision for what you want. There's a reason why you would have chosen a banner, right? I mean, if your heart was set on a banner after all the research that you've done, you found a location and unfortunately it just wasn't going to work. Then I don't know. Do you go to Plan B and go through with that same site and with a program that you've determined in your head isn't going to give you that step up that you wanted and what you were aligned to do, and after you've done all your review, maybe it doesn't have all the the bells and whistles or the tools in that toolbox as far as the programs and services and support that you need. Because if you're going to open a pharmacy in a market that is saturated or is too close to other pharmacies, then you're certainly going to need some support to make it a go, right? It's going to be a pretty competitive go. So I think individually you need to go back and take a second look at that location as well, and weigh, is this location? Locations are important. Have a good location. What's important to you? Is it the location, or is it the program, the banner, the tools? Do you have that same level of comfort if you were to have to say, okay, now I got to go to program B, and I really have my heart set on program A? And again, with having gone through a business planning process, it should be pretty clear, I think, in your mind what you should be doing. And then really it comes down to your decision. We've just recently turned down an application from pharmacy owners. Love these guys, lots of energy, but it was a location. It was close to a few other pharmacies, and we just said, this is from our experience, right? And here comes the experience part of opening all these pharmacies. It was just not the right location. And banners, from where I come from, we don't open pharmacies just to open pharmacies. We don't open businesses. No one has a goal to lose money. No one has a goal to be one of those stats in an unsuccessful business. Banner programs don't either. We want to build the brand. We want to grow the brand. We don't want to put up a sign and then 3 years later take it down. And so we turned them down and said, I'm sorry, like there's a few reasons why this location isn't really going to work. And they said at the time that they were going to, we'll shop around and go to another banner. In the end, just found out they decided, no, we're not going to open this location with another banner. We're going to go find another location. So that literally just happened this past month. And I think, while it was a really tough decision to make, because we want to support independent pharmacy, in the end, we knew it was the right decision. And I'm glad that the pharmacy owners came back and said, we've thought a bit more, and where we really are today, they honored that decision and decided that it wasn't the right location for them. So sometimes there's things happen for a reason. So who knows? But it all comes back to your research and really aligning that program with your vision for what your pharmacy, what you want it to be.
So just perfect. Following up on the whole discussion of location, Greg, if I'm a pharmacy professional looking to do a startup pharmacy, should I be relying on a banner or banners that I'm engaging with to help me find that location? Should I be finding a location first and then bringing it to the banner? Which way do you think is best, or does it matter?
I think there's no harm in asking. Like I said, in our banner programs, from my experience, we're a group of, independent owned, pharmacy owners. We're not a corporate banner. We're not a corporate franchise system. We don't have a real estate department. We don't, we're not in bed with developers and things like that, but we've got lots of connections in the marketplace. And we do know, when there's, pharmacies that might be for sale. I mean, we have good relationship with developers that might have, or medical clinics have reached out to us because they're familiar, again, back to that brand power. They're familiar with the strength of the brand name. So it never hurts whether you have a location or not to reach out to the banner. We get emails from our website daily from pharmacists looking to open new pharmacies. And our number one challenge right now is real estate. We don't have enough real estate that we're aware of to meet the demand of pharmacists who just want to open up their own business, and they want to be their own boss, and they want to enjoy in their own success and partner with a strong program. And the ones that come to us after finding a location, that obviously it speeds up that process quite a bit. I would caution, though, we also have people that come to us after having signed a lease already. And sometimes they're going forward with the pharmacy, and then they come to us after the fact, and they'll be like, what do you think? And then we might identify a few issues or this or that, or we could have helped them negotiate a stronger lease, but they've already signed it. So I think it's important to reach out at the right time. There's no harm in reaching out early, even if you don't have real estate. But as soon as you get a hint of where you've got a good location, we've had recently a couple pharmacy owners go through our entire banner program bit by bit. Talk about due diligence. It was great. I love pharmacy owners that ask all those questions without telling us the location yet, because they wanted to assess the strength of the banner program. And then when they were comfortable and they made a decision on the banner, they still hadn't signed the lease and everything yet. But then we said, okay, meet us at this location. And so then we were able to go and see the location, and it worked well. And they're excited to be part of Pharmasave. So I know there's owners that might have real estate. They're very secretive of it because they found that golden spot for a pharmacy. So it really is. We're here to support the independent pharmacy, from at any stage of, exploration to, just before we sign the lease. And sometimes, like I said, it's after they've signed the lease, and then it's, the ball's definitely in the owner's court, but we're there to support them. So we'll take all inquiries and make sure that it's if we're going to put our banner behind it and support that owner, it's both sides coming together to have a clear vision forward.
Excellent. So we're rapidly running out of time, and we knew this was going to happen, and there's so much to talk about. We've explored a lot of stuff here, but we've got a few minutes left. So with the time we've got left here, can we just zero in on and be specific about, and not not necessarily your banner or any banner in particular, but what are some of the key features or advantages of banner programs in general versus being a pure unaffiliated independent in your mind?
In my mind, I mentioned a few things earlier. Time and energy are required to run any pharmacy business, and I think a banner program has a lot of those things built in. And back to the tools in the toolbox. When you're looking at a banner program that all the different features, there's sort of table stakes that are there. There's a wholesale program, there's some vendor support and that type of thing. But what makes the differentiates some banners over others is often is the operational support, right? So those are things that will differentiate banners. Merchandising and flyers. I mean, those are things that are common, but that use of technology, forward-thinking vision. If you're looking at the types of tools, whether there's social media support, and again, back to being relevant to the customers of today, but also of tomorrow. You want to, the world is going digital, right? So what kind of banner is forward-thinking and looking at how to support owners in an increasingly digital world? So those things today, e-com is another. We've just seen the explosion of e-commerce and how retailers are adapting to the current environment that we're working in. But there's other features that if there's parts of the banner that can support you in getting either changing from a pure independent, so that you don't have to worry about the website support and, trying to find an app and trying to tailor, those type of solutions, decor, signage, colors of paint, the fixturing, all those kind of things as well. As a true independent, you're on your own. And with a banner program that's got, years and years of experience, that's, that's all time, and time is money, and you can focus your efforts working, on your business, not just trying to figure out, some of those things that would come with a banner program, and loyalty program and marketing, those types of things that come with the brand power of that banner that you wouldn't have as an independent pharmacy. You might in your community, but there's some banners out there that, not only do you get those tools, all those bells and whistles, but they are still locally owned and operated, and there's some really strong connection with communities all over, my case, in Western Canada here, that people do value, and they want to support local, and they want to support a program, that runs like it has their best interests, it has the services, and from a pharmacy program itself, it's going to take care of them, and they trust it, and that's, it comes down to a recognition of a solid brand that and the trust that goes along with it is, it's so powerful today, especially for independent pharmacy owners looking for that support they need.
You said something that's really near and dear to Phil's and mine's hearts, around the whole issue of, you sort of alluded to it, and you said, I think, correct me if I'm putting words into your mouth here, but I think what you said at one point was, a banner program really can oftentimes provide enough support for a person to allow them to work more on their business, as opposed to in their business. You didn't quite put it like that, but that's what I deduced from it. And that's a big deal for us. We see a lot of pharmacists who are barely treading water because they're spending all their time every day, day to day, just working in the business, and they're just buried in this mire of muck that oftentimes a banner program can really take a lot of that away, and they can focus on the bigger picture of their business and where it's going, and how they want to get there, and you sort of bringing their vision to a reality.
I was thinking of that saying. I did say it because it's been said many times over, but it really is.
We don't mind the cliches on this program. It's okay.
It really is about working on your business, allowing you, and time is money. And in the program that we have, and I look at the amount of time and effort that goes into, just social media, and the power of some of those tools today that to influence and to connect with your customers. You need to focus on it if you're on your own. But to have a program that's got, it's all packaged up for you and, turnkey, that's truly where the power of a banner program comes. It's got all those, you want to go through what's important to you, but what's critical today for a pharmacy business to run and compete in markets where you're up against the big box, the big corporate stores. They're open at midnight. They got everything else from food and everything, you need to be relevant, and that takes a lot of time and focus for you. So let's remove the basic, the core part, we call that our value proposition, which is it's a lot. That's all included, so that you don't have to think about, what you're going to put on sale or retail pricing. You want, use technology and download pricing, make sure you're priced right for your market, like all these other things that we can do behind the scenes so that you can focus on that customer experience, and your staff. I mean, we didn't even talk about staff and the importance of proper training and the amount of time that you need to focus on as a small business owner. But a banner can, support all of those things that just, that can be done behind the scenes so that you don't have to worry about it, and you can worry about the important stuff, which is, driving your business
really
forward and being successful.
It's helping owners not spend all their time majoring on the minors, and being consumed with that, and being able to actually run their businesses, their professional side. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And tapping into a network of pharmacies that has, professionals there to support you. It's just, it's a great combination.
Well, I think that's a great spot to leave it for part one here, and I think we've set the stage to have a bit of a more in-depth discussion in part two, which would be our next episode, around some of the very specific and unique features that banner programs offer, and why those might be there. And so we're going to dive into that a little bit more in depth in part two of this discussion with Greg Shepard here from Pharmasave West. And so that brings this episode of Pharmacy in Flux to a conclusion, and we hope that you'll tune into our next episode to hear more details about banner programs when we dive into a little bit more of the stage that we've set from today's discussion about the benefits in general of banner programs. Thanks again for tuning in to Pharmacy in Flux. We hope you've enjoyed this episode, and we'll catch you next time.